This original WSRE presentation is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
They run one of the fastest growing companies in the nation. Hazel Wigington and Holly Smith on this edition of Conversations. According to a report produced by American Express, from 1997 to 2011, the number of women-owned businesses in the U.S. increased greatly. Right at the heart of that trend are Holly Smith and Hazel Wigington, the founders of H2 Performance Consulting, an entity that provides a vast array of consulting services to both government and commercial concerns. Prior to starting H2 Performance in 2005, both Hazel and Holly worked for a major internationally known consulting firm. Since going out on their own, their rise has been quite remarkable. In 2010 and 2011, the company landed on Inc. magazine's list of fastest growing companies in America. They've also garnered a spot on Florida's Companies to Watch list. We welcome Hazel Wigington and Holly Smith to Conversations. Ladies, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
First of all, what is H2 Performance?
Well, H2 Performance Consulting is a management and technology consulting company with a presence both in the government and the commercial spaces. Focused primarily at the strategic level of both the business and the technology consulting, as well as we do some select professional recruiting for organizations and training.
I'm curious, what was it that got you guys to start your own business? Because both of you were working with big consulting firms, and what was it that triggered you to go out on your own?
We actually decided to write a book together. That was the first step when we were working previously, and we were friends with an author and had talked with him about how do we write a book. We felt like we could write a better business book that was currently on the market, and this was 2005. So we started using Barnes & Noble as our evening, a couple times a week we would go meet to lay out our book. And at some point, and neither one of us know where the turn came, that we started talking about starting our own business.
Did you ever write the book?
The book has not happened, but the business did.
We get that question all the time. We so need to pull that back out. I mean, it's still on our computers, and we have the ideas, but no, we never finished the book. The business superseded that.
What would be the primary message of the book if you were going to sit down over coffee with someone and tell them? What would you?
I think the message has changed
yeah.
somewhat, because that's a good question, because we haven't thought about it since we changed to focus on the business.
Right.
But I think right now, for me, this is very important, and I know Hazel will probably agree, but it's about helping other businesses simplify. There's a lot of things out there that appear very technical and complex.
Intimidating.
And yes, intimidating to small businesses, and they don't know which way to go, and even medium-sized businesses. And we like to break it down to the most simplest form to help other companies. And I think that's a lot of what we like to do now, is help other companies, not just from a consulting standpoint, but from mentoring as well.
Well, I know you've done some speaking and whatnot, talking about steps to starting a business, and elaborate on that. If someone's out there and they're saying, I would like to start my own business, what would be the first couple of key points that they should focus on?
You first need to reach out and try to find at least one or two existing business owners that are willing to mentor you. And there are people out there. We do it, and we look at it. We had mentors, and we look at it as a pay it forward type of situation. And then secondarily is you need to. Everything is about relationships, and you need to form all your your banking relationship, your relationship with your attorney, relationship with an accountant, because those are going to be the set of trusted advisors and key people to help you as you grow your business and propel it forward.
And we do work with some companies that have a tendency to want to do it all themselves because they're small and the budgets are very tight. And that's simply not something that is wise at times, especially when you're looking at something legal and you need a contract, something like that, or you need accounting advice to get you going in the right direction. We decided early on, if it's not our core competency, then we'll find the people who do it. and work with them versus trying to learn it ourselves.
With the exception of medical stuff, financial issues are probably the last thing people should go cut rate on, wouldn't you think?
Exactly.
Well, take me back to the beginning there. So you guys were meeting, you were going to write a book and decided to start a business. So did you have an idea immediately of what the business was going to be about? How long, or how long did it take you to formulate what it was going to be?
Well, actually, that was pretty easy. It's in our name, performance consulting. Both of us had a history of various types of business and management type of consulting that we had done. And in the previous 3 years to starting a business, we had moved more into strategic planning, performance metrics, those types of things. And we really liked it. And we saw the value to businesses. And so the business was actually built to really have a niche focus in that arena. Well, at this, not too long later, the economy fell out, the government cut their budgets, all those things happen, and one of the first places that people start cutting is thinking about strategic planning, worrying about their performance metrics, where they shouldn't cut.
Right.
Actually, it's kind of contrary to where they should be focusing their efforts. But that was what it was originally started for.
How did you overcome that challenge of the economic downturn?
Well, when we started the business, we started doing something similar to what we had envisioned, performance metrics and strategic planning, but with an IT focus. And that's really where the company's been ever since. And IT, we've seen less of, the downturn had less of an impact from the IT standpoint. And actually, every single project and engagement and client we've had have all been IT projects since we started the business.
What's the challenge, or I would think it would be a challenge for you yourselves to stay on top of what's happening in IT because it's changing so rapidly. So how do you stay on top of it?
Gosh, you're exactly right. It's moving very, very fast, and there's a lot going on. Healthcare IT, for instance, right now, not only is it moving fast, but nobody knows where it's really going because a lot of that 7,000 pages of law that was passed has yet to be fully worked out. So the institutions, the healthcare institutions themselves are kind of scratching their heads saying, we know we're supposed to do something and we know we're going to need technology as an enabler to do that, but we're not really sure what the mandates and the requirements are fully going to be yet because that hasn't been cascaded down. So staying on top of it is a matter of periodicals a lot. We both have tons of periodicals that we have signed up for that get pushed to us. It's kind of like the CIO magazine, computerworld.com, those types of things, as well as regular hard copy periodicals, talking with other people, staying in a peer group of other
Networking.
Providers. Because we're not, for instance, an infrastructure provider. We don't provide database services or have a data center, but we have a phenomenal strategic partner that does. So it's just you got to stay in that community of
Goes
like
back to
people.
those relationships.
It
like
does
you
go
were
back
talking
to those
about.
relationships.
Yeah, we're members of several organizations. Locally, IT Gulf Coast is a good example where they help us stay on top of these things. So we all have to eat lunch, that's a lunch meeting, and you learn the latest that's going on. And there's several other groups very similar to that that we're members of.
With technology changing, how does a company, I guess the word would be balance on when do I move forward? When do I take my capital and start spending it on technology versus, well, am I spending too soon because obsolescence is going to be an issue? How do you balance that?
You first have to figure out what your strategic priorities are.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it starts with your strategic priorities, and then you have to assess how well your current technology meets those strategic priorities, and what the gap is, and then at that point prioritize that gap, and then make your your investments accordingly. And there's so much, like the cloud. The cloud is phenomenal. I'm a cloud fan.
Right.
The cloud is a phenomenal opportunity because what it's done for business is instead of you buying $25,000 piece servers and having to maintain your own servers, and now you have to have a staff to maintain the servers, you have the cloud.
Yeah.
It's all there. You buy it as a service. And so the fact that something as a service has become kind of the way that small and medium-sized businesses can move forward, and even large companies are looking at stopping to host their infrastructure. It's bringing costs down significantly and allowing them to make investments into business processes and using technology as an enabler versus spending a whole bunch of money on the backroom servers.
Talking about strategic planning, if I'm a business and I have not done an in-depth strategic plan, give me a couple of steps. What are the first few steps I should take?
Well, and you put a couple of good words in there, in depth. Strategic planning is not what it used to be. Because when we started in strategic planning, you were looking 3 and 5 years out, predominantly 5 years. And a couple of years ago, 3 years was the norm. And now it's hard to even look out 3 years. You can with some of the really large things, if you're going to do a CRM, a customer relationship management system, something like that, that's a big investment that you need to crosswalk back to where you want your company to go, yes. But the norm right now is looking a year out and planning. And we actually just came out of a planning session where our leadership team, we had some thoughts of where we were going to go in 2012. We, the leadership team, spent quite a bit of time talking. So in terms of first steps for another business, we make a conscious decision to work on the business and set aside time to work on the business. The difference is versus working in the business and doing the accounting and things like that. It's laying out the future direction for the company. So we spent probably 40 hours in the last 6 weeks of 2011 specifically talking about 2012 and lessons learned from 2011 and looking at what was profitable and what wasn't and what we need to change in 2012. Where's the market going? So exactly what some of the things that Hazel just talked about. We've, over the years in our business, spent a lot of time having buy versus build decisions. Do we insource it and do it in-house, or do we outsource it to someone whose expertise does it? So from the strategic planning standpoint, you've really got to look hard at the business and what's happened in it to decide where you're going in the future and where the market's going. And the market's moving so fast and changing so quickly, you've got to be able to turn very quickly and say, this has not worked and we need to shift over here and provide this service a little bit differently.
What's the key to keeping yourself nimble?
That's a good question. I think that how we do it is, like one of the things that Holly said, is we lay aside time to focus on thinking about the business. So, as owners, and at the same time we work inside the company, and even if it's a large company with executive leadership, you can get so wrapped up in the chaos of the day, right? That you don't spend time just pausing for a second, stepping back and saying, how are we performing and where are we going and making those adjustments. And so number one is taking the time to look at where you're going. Number two is looking at the metrics, making sure that you have put together the right indicators in your business and paying attention. We had it happen in 2011. I mean, 2011 was a brutal year in the government space. I always talk to people about how the continuing resolution
Right.
and has impact defense contractors, and we have lots of things that are from that are impacting our ability to really penetrate and grow our presence in the government space right now. And so we had to make some, in August of last year, it all kind of came to head, and we had to make some very, very quick changes. And it was based on looking at the indicators in our market, but they're both financial indicators, there were customer indicators, and we did
Just environmental
indicators, and we took some very swift actions very quickly. And I have breakfast with my with our accountant once a month, and he made the comment last month that, had we, that a lot of companies, had they experienced what we had, that what they do is they basically get amputated at the legs, but they keep on going, and then they drive the business into the ground, and that we actually did what most companies don't do, and we turned it around and actually pulled out of 2011 a lot better than than what we started.
You bring up something interesting that I would be willing to bet you a large portion of small and maybe even mid-sized businesses don't do, and that's measure. You said metrics, you know, and if you don't have a measuring process, it's hard to know where you really are. But like you said, sometimes if you're a small business, that's a little difficult to do. What advice, though, would you have for a small business person to get into that routine?
I think one of the reasons it's so easy for us is we're very project oriented, and projects have start and end dates, they have budgets, they have milestones that have to be met, but that translates to any business, not just IT projects. It could be anything that a company is doing, and it's being very cognizant of what those are and making decisions. We have always said that 80% of the time in a project really goes into the planning phase so that you know what to expect throughout the execution of the project, and where to throw up a red flag and say we have to stop. Something's not going right. We haven't delivered what we need to. Or if you're a company and you've contracted to have something done, an implementation of some sort, IT implementation, then you expect that vendor that you're paying money to meet certain milestones and give you this capability. And it's being cognizant of what those are and living by them. It becomes very easy to say, oh, that happened because of this, and it's going to be okay.
Right.
But you can't. And we've learned that the hard way, that you've just got to put a stop right there and make a very hard and fast decision. And the decisions don't come easy sometimes.
Yeah, we always question whether we're doing the best that we can do. I think that's the other part of it is,
Right.
is we question what we're doing, but you have to right size it, because you'll go out there and you'll be overwhelmed if you go out on the internet and it'll talk about all these things that you're supposed to do as a small business. So if, for instance, you can go out on the internet right now, find a business plan, because as they tell you, as a small business, the first thing you should do is a business plan. And the business plan has ton of financial information and projections and all of that, and I think that it's overwhelming for small businesses because honestly in that first year or two, it's hard unless you're getting some VC funding, venture capital funding or something. It's hard to really understand, and you're really just organically growing it as you. Then you add another employee.
And you're hoping that you make payroll.
Exactly, hoping you make payroll. You're not paying yourself perhaps, and so. One of the things that we're very disciplined about is a budget, and I tell people that I'll build a budget and make sure that on a monthly basis you're paying attention to the cash flows, right, and to that budget. And then what Holly hears this from me quite often, so we'll decide to make an investment. Say for instance we make an unplanned training investment. Then my question back to the executive team is, that's great. That's probably exactly the right thing to do. Where's that money coming from? We take it out of another line item, because money doesn't grow on trees, right? Yeah, it would be nice. So the idea is we take it out of another line item. So you really do need to pay attention to the budget and pay attention to your accounts receivable. As a small business, we tend to let people run over us because we want the business, and then we let them go long on their payments, and that's the kiss of death.
Yeah, good point. Speaking of capital, any thoughts for someone who wants to start a business? Where do you get that startup capital? Where's a good place to go?
It's all around having the relationship, having the relationship with the banker, because Hazel had mentioned before the show started that we're not local to Pensacola. We've lived here quite a while, now 10 plus years, but Hazel had the banking relationships because my bank was still in Virginia. And that was key. That was key, to have that person that's a face that could look at us as a company and say, we know you, and we know that what you're putting in front of us, you're going to work very hard to make this happen. So that's really been the key to our success, and is relationships.
Right, but there is sacrifice. I mean, I will say that post 2009 and the fallout of the banking industry, it's a different environment. That we had a community bank that we dealt with locally that's no longer here, and I think I have been saying for a while that I believe the barrier to entry for small businesses, based on the changing in the banking environment, the changes coming down with the healthcare reform, and especially the fact that they want to push some of these from the 50-person company down to the 25-person company, changes in financial reform and tax law,
And Department of Labor
and
regulations.
now Department of Labor, exactly, thank you, are coming through with a whole new set of requirements, that the barrier to entry for small businesses, and I've been kind of saying 2014 and beyond, but we're already seeing it, is tremendous. And I think that you're going to see less if things don't change, you'll see less small businesses coming into the space and succeeding in the space. For those of us already there, it's kind of good, but it's not good for what most of us, that are entrepreneurs, we want to see other businesses come into the space.
Right. Well, it's not good though, because all that gets passed on to the customer.
Right.
Because
It
it
does.
drives up our cost, which drives up the price to the customer.
If you talk to most small business owners, they will tell you exactly what you just said. But yet politicians turn around and tell you how much they want to help the small business person, but one would have to conclude, if you want to help, why do you continue to burden me with this?
Then you need to stop. We need to stop seeing what is produced daily out of Washington Technology Magazine, showing that time and time again over the last year that the administration has come down with changes. They just made a cut the other day that was announced. Part of their budget cut is it was either 7 or 12% to the Small Business Administration Technical Assistance Program. Is that supporting small business? Supporting the technical, cutting the technical assistance program? So, inside the Beltway, if they don't make some changes to recognize, and we all know the numbers, right? Of that small business fuels America.
Right.
It's not large corporations. 80% of Americans are employed by some small business or another. Most small businesses are S corporations. Right. We're an S corporation. If you want to raise the tax rate on individuals in the higher tax income, it's not. I'm in the higher tax income bracket because the profits from our business cascade to our personal income, and most Americans on paper,
right.
Exactly.
On paper.
It's we haven't taken a dividend from the business in 2 years.
2 years.
2 years. 2 years. We take a salary that's reasonable, but we have taken no money out of the business, and that has allowed us to continue, employ new people and to make investments back into the business for the growth. So, it's quite a challenge, and I feel for those small businesses that are coming into the space and trying to make it.
How many employees do you have?
21.
We have
now?
21. We have the way that we operate is through 3 mechanisms. We have our employees. We have a set of 1099 individuals, because we do a lot of work that is maybe short term. Holly does some training, and so
Instructors.
So for instructors in different locations across the United States, and then we also have subcontractors that we work with, and going back to the relationships, we have a strong set of strategic partners that if it's not our core competency, then we contract that portion out to another vendor.
But the jobs you have are fairly high-paying jobs, I would assume.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I checked your website prior to this show, and it looked to me like you were hiring. Which brings me to another question. Is the unemployment crisis in this country more of a structural issue versus an economic issue? And what I mean by that, are people not preparing themselves in the right sort of fields?
Wow, that's a really good question. I think that this is me personally. My personal view of a lot of the unemployment issue is that they are not, in a lot of cases, preparing themselves, for. We are in an information age, and so the reality of large amounts of construction jobs, I don't see that anything in the near future, right? And so people need to retool themselves, because if you look out there, and we work with a lot of technology vendors, they're dying for talent that sits in that like $45,000 to $65,000 range, and in a lot of cases it doesn't involve needing so much experience as it does having these IT certifications behind it,
which are not that expensive to obtain to help get you into those positions in that salary range.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, I would much rather pay for people to get retooled and get these certs than to allow 96 weeks of unemployment or whatever we're up to at this point in time. But I think that if we retooled ourselves and started responding, to exactly where we are, and that the days of large-scale construction across the United States are gone, and at least at this point in time, then people can absolutely get back to work, because the job list, they're out there.
There's lots out there, and I would like to add too that folks need to really look at how they do their resume as well, and a potential employer who's reviewing a resume may look at it for 10 seconds before they move on to the next one. So it's really about taking your skill set or your certifications and building that resume that is very specific to the job. It's not having 20 resumes that all get mailed out. It's really customizing it to that job. So then that 10 seconds, it's like, oh, this is a good one.
Right. So the key I'm hearing to the success is get educated, build relationships, and be very specific on what you want to accomplish, whether it's personally or on a business level.
Right.
Yeah.
People need to get involved in organizations locally so they can network, because most of the jobs that are out there are gone before they even hit the streets.
Right. And can I clarify the educated part? I'm not saying a bachelor's degree. That doesn't mean you have to go get a full-fledged. It just means get a skill set.
Yes. I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that's important. Something that's marketable in the real world.
Yes.
If people want to learn more about your organization, the website is?
www.h2pc.com.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much for spending some time with us. Hazel Wigington, Holly Smith,
thank
H2
you.
Performance Consulting. Hopefully some people are able to pick up some good insight. And
Wonderful.
best of luck to you in your business as you move forward.
Thank
you.
And we greatly appreciate you watching this edition of Conversations. By the way, you can see some more conversations with a wide range of fascinating personalities online at wsre.org/conversations. I'm Jeff Weeks. I hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Take good care of yourself, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.
Support for this program is provided in part by these corporate sponsors. And by viewers like you.